Has anybody tried to reach out to Ron? I'll give him a call, see if he responds. Ooh. I got his voicemail. Chris, they leaving you all by your lonesome again tonight?
I'm riding solo, ready to go though.
Oh, I'm telling you, man.
I know, right? We got a bunch.
That's twice he's left you hanging.
2 times I get left solo. Yeah, we have 3 plans that are running concurrent, so a bunch of dates sometimes don't jive. So we'll take care of it.
I got you. Jen, I've got 6 o'clock. I don't know where Ron is. I just tried to call him and got his voicemail. So, I mean, I think we can go ahead and start. If he joins us, he joins us.
Okay. I'm going to call this 6:03 on February 22nd, East Palestine Board meeting to order. Voice in the pledge. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're just going to discuss I don't have an agenda or anything, right?
No, just a work session. So the only agenda item would be the work session itself.
Okay. So I guess, Chris, we're going to do a work session.
All righty. So I think everybody knows everybody on here except for, well, this will get confusing, Chris, but he's the important Chris tonight. I'm just here for, I'm a spectator. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Chris, and we'll let you run your show.
Sounds great. I appreciate everyone's time. Members of the board, thank you very much for entertaining this evening. My name is Chris DeMauro. I'm the vice president of the Impact Group. We are a marketing, communications, and public relations firm located in Hudson, Ohio. The vast predominance of our clientele is K-12 education, namely public school districts. We also work with cities and municipalities and boards of developmental disabilities all over the state of Ohio. But our client profile is school districts. We work with about 50 school districts on retainer contracts, which means we're essentially the communications team behind all of the products that the district put out. And then the branch of the organization that I help run is called Special Projects. So we also help districts with issues like passing school levies, crisis communications, and strategic planning, which is what we're here to discuss this evening. So again, first, just want to congratulate the board on making this decision, encouraging community participation and community engagement in your strategic planning process. I was in town on Friday, spent about 2.5 hours with Chris's leadership team, talked to the administrators and took them through really the same process that we're going to go through tonight. We did a lot of visioning together, and we also talked about the current state of the district. The things you do well, the challenges that lie in front of you, some things that threaten you from the outside in, and a lot of the opportunities that are there for the taking. After we work with the board tonight, Chris and I will be working together. We're going to do some focus groups with targeted people in the community. We're going to reach out to parents. We'll do targeted focus groups with parents. We'll do a group with Chris's district leadership team. We'll do a group of community business leaders, civic leaders, We'll talk to kids, certainly, most importantly. And we'll also be running 2 surveys while all of this is going on. We'll be running a community survey so that people can provide us feedback from the comfort of their home if they don't want to take part in a 45-minute focus group. And we'll also be running a survey for every single staff member. So when all is said and done, our team back at the office at the Impact Group will pour through all of this data. For a district the size of East Palestine, I hope to have between 500 and 1,000 data points informing the plan. We'll work really, really hard to get a hold of that many people to gauge their feedback. I'll put it into a nice, neat summary for Chris, and our team will work on creating an actual plan for all of you, complete with goals, objectives, action steps, due dates, and timelines. And we'll also help you communicate that to the public. But tonight is the first step in that process. I just mentioned a second ago, we went through this with the administrative leadership team on Friday. Tonight's the board's opportunity to talk about their vision for the district and also to let me know some of the things you think you're doing really well, but also some of the challenges that lie ahead of you. With all that being said, I'd be happy to entertain any questions that you might have at the onset about the process, about what we're going to do tonight. And then certainly if you'd like to speak with me afterwards, or if you'd like to email or discuss any of this on the phone, I'm certainly open and willing to do that as well. But tonight, it's very, very important that I get your honest feedback. Please, your candor is appreciated. The only way we can help the district get better is if we have an honest and upfront conversation about some things right now that might not be working the way that the board feels they should be working. And that includes all categories. So if you happen to have a pen or a computer in front of you, I'll give you a couple of ideas to kind of spark some conversation. Generally, when I do a work session with the board, their feedback falls in very particular categories. Those categories that we'd like to discuss tonight as you frame your vision for the district are facilities, fiscal management and transparency, academic achievement, communication, both internally and externally, culture and climate, business operations and human resources, and diversity and inclusivity. Those tend to be the big 7. That is not to say that there's not something happening in your district that is equally as large. Some of our districts like to make safety and security a goal area. So if that's on your mind, let's talk about that this evening. Some districts choose to make technology its own goal area. So if that's on your mind, tonight is the time to really let loose and discuss some of these things. We'll vet all of this material against the other feedback we receive from members of the community, and we'll create the plan moving forward. Any questions from the board at this point in time? Be happy to answer them. All right. We're going to start with some vision work. First piece of this puzzle, I'd like you to think about the district 5 years down the road. And I'd like you to imagine that you as board members are very, very proud of what it is you've been able to accomplish via Chris and his team and your supportive community and its students. So as you think about a vision 5 years down the road, I want you to imagine that this board has convened a scheduled meeting and you're in a celebratory mood. You're high-fiving, you're excited for some of the things you're able to do for kids and for the community. And really the simple question is, if that's the feeling that you have in 5 years, what have you managed to accomplish? And I'm going to need you to be very specific here. Maybe you're going to say, hey, Chris, we've passed the levy. We have a K-12 facilities plan. We've improved our math curriculum. We're offering more programming for kids with special needs. We've increased athletic opportunities. Our kids are more competitive. It can be any number of things that you want to see happen between now and the year 2026. So I'll give you a couple of minutes of think time, and I'd like to hear your thoughts. This is your vision for the district's future. There's nothing too large. There's nothing it's all pie in the sky. There really are no wrong answers. You can think about some of those categories that I gave you, if that helps you jog some thoughts, jog your brain. I'll go ahead and ask for a volunteer. Anybody wants to be brave and kick us off?
I'll go.
Thank you.
I suppose my name is Rube Ginder, by the way.
Appreciate it.
We, with what goes on in the country with the schools, I suppose, in my opinion, safety is one of the big things.
Absolutely. So you're saying 5 years down the road, you want to maintain a safe and secure atmosphere. Is there anything in particular? Do you want more resource officers? Do you want better cameras? Do you want better systems in place?
Yes.
Yes, all the things. Got it. Thank you. Anybody else? Feel free to chime in. All those categories. This is open season.
Just my personal opinion, I'm Doug Lambert.
Hey, Doug.
I want the students, when they leave our school district, to understand that they're not done, that they need to spend their life learning and never quit.
Excellent. Create lifelong learners. Sounds to me too, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, that you've instilled a sense of perseverance in kids. You've taught them that skill.
That's what I want, yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else? Again, thinking about facilities, the financial realities of your district, the way that it communicates with folks, student achievement.
I think like in 5 years, we probably, we would want to not have as many kids open enrolling to other districts. We want to keep the kids within our district.
Heard a lot
So
about
whether
that with
it's
your admin team.
by like offering better athletic opportunities, academic opportunities, all of that, we want to keep the kids here and proud of our district.
Yep. Thank you. Anything else? Vision for the district. Heard about safety, heard about preparing kids, making sure your kids stay home, stop losing them to open enrollment, create better opportunities and programming so that they'll stay. What else?
This
You
isn't something
Oh,
this
you-
is something I was looking forward to. But as far as diversity and inclusion, I think our school does a great job of that. I've heard of kids going to other districts and feeling like outcasts and coming back to our school, and because they felt wanted, needed.
Excellent. Anything else? I heard someone else try to chime in there.
Yeah, I think a lot of, we've been, at least in the last, well, a lot of years we have been, but in the most years, recent years, and then definitely in the future, about being transparent. You mentioned about being transparent.
Yep.
And getting, family members, parents, community members involved, that's
Excellent. Community involvement. When we run levy programs for districts, those two phrases come up continually. Community involvement, transparency, especially with the way that you're managing dollars. Anything else on your mind in terms of things that you'd like to see 5 years down the road, things that the district has accomplished or are on their way to accomplishing? All right.
Our school grades, I know, have been coming up every year for the students have, raised the grade of the district.
Okay.
I want to see that continue.
State report card grades. All right.
I guess I'll add a positive cash balance to proceed and do all these things.
Right?
I'm the treasurer, by the way.
Can't hurt. I knew that was a treasurer comment right off the bat. Where when I heard positive cash balance. Thank you. It's important now. Will there be, Rick, I think there's an opportunity for a renewal levy within the span of this strategic plan, correct?
It'll be at the end of the, at the end of the 5th year, probably.
Got it. So obviously we want to get that passed.
Yeah, this is the first year for the income tax right now.
Yep. Got it.
And we have had our difficulties the last couple of years. So
Yep. Understood. Does that new funding matrix help in any way, shape, or form if it gets through?
yes, it should. Because we lose a ton of money to open enrollment,
Yeah.
Which,
like 1.2 million plus community school dollars. So
Yep. Got it.
I missed everything up to about this point because I lost all my audio, and
Oh man.
so if I repeat anything, my apologies.
That's all right, Brian. Go ahead.
I just would like to see us become a destination instead of bleeding students out. I'd like to see us with a problem. Where are we going to put all these students problem?
Yeah. Excellent. Destination location. You got it.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'd like to see us continue to grow our programming
Okay.
technologically, language, whatever additional language offerings, any extra offerings that we can to help make us a destination, but that comes with the funding. So
You got it. Chris, where do your career tech ed kids head?
Right now, they go to the Columbiana County Career Center,
Got it.
but we are working on some pre-apprenticeship programming to keep some of our kids in the district. That should start next year.
Awesome. Guys are ahead of the game. Anything else, members of the board? Things that are on your mind in any of those categories? Achievement, communications, safety, security, operations. I want you to be thinking maybe if this helps jog any ideas. Operations includes transportation, food service, custodial maintenance, a secretarial. There's a lot of support positions that we certainly want to consider as well, not just our teaching staff. Obviously, we talked about culture and climate, the way that we communicate with parents and senior citizens, taxpayers that might not have a direct link to the district anymore. If any of those ideas jog some thoughts that you'd like to see, let's put them down here now.
well, we've come a long way in the communication aspect, and I would like to see that continue
Yep.
to grow and expand. I mean, between our app and our Facebook and Twitter, I think we've been doing a great job communicating, but any way that we can further that would be fantastic.
Yep. Chris and I had a good conversation, and one of the output items that often ends up in a strategic plan like this is working with districts that do a great job of communicating. It's like you said, Brian, it's taking it to the next level and actively seeking out senior citizens, folks in town whose children are now graduates and they no longer really have that direct link. Those are folks, there's a lot of veterans in this room. Those are folks, that help pass school levies. And if they have a good sense and they're getting good stories and they're knowing that their tax dollars are still working hard, obviously it's easy for them to check that yes box when it comes time to ask. So there's a lot of work being done communications wise when you're outside of that 6-month levy cycle that really is winning your school levy. We tell all of our districts, you're on the ballot year round all the time. It never really ends when you're telling good stories. Anything else in terms of that vision piece? Heard some great stuff here. Let me recap it for you real quick. We talked about ensuring continuance of safety and security measures, resource officers, cameras, having students that are well prepared, they're lifelong learners, they're able to persevere. We want to stop losing kids to open enrollment, currently losing 1.2 million by offering opportunities and programming to keep them at home. We want to continue to include all students, create a welcoming atmosphere for everyone. We want to be transparent in our communication with community members. We want deeper community involvement. We want our state report card grades to continue to increase. We want a positive cash balance. We're going to pass our renewal at the end of this 5-year cycle. We're going to become a destination location for kids and keep them at home. We're going to grow our tech programming, our language offerings, our career tech offerings. And we're going to continue to grow and expand communication into the pockets that are tough to reach. If all of those things were to happen at the end of this 3 to 5 year strategic plan, are you as board members excited about that progress?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
We would have to be. I mean, that's, I mean, right.
certainly would hope so. Those are lofty goals and those are high expectations, but that's the only way to get something like this accomplished. Part of the value that I think our group will add in working with Chris and his leadership team is building some strategy around all of these ideas. It's one thing to say them, and it's another to build a system around them. And not just a system, but a system with actionable steps that everybody can check in on, that's assigned to a person and it has a due date. So if we're going to say someone on Chris's team is going to study the efficacy of bringing on a further resource officers, and they're going to explore the grants that are available and the federal dollars that are available, that's how that process is going to unfold. There's going to be a bunch of steps, there's going to be output, and there's going to be an outcome. So that's how we hope to get some of these things accomplished. We switch gears for a moment and move into a conversation. This is the easy part of the night. I want to know about district strengths. I want you guys to brag to me. I want to hear about what you do well. I got 2 elementary age girls. If we were to move to the city, I want you to sell me on East Palestine City School District. What is it that you do extremely well that you're proud of? What do you brag to your friends about? What do you go home and feel good about at night knowing that you're a board member?
I think the school district's part of a really good community with a great library, park, and good churches.
Excellent. Thank you.
We have a very supportive community as well. Anytime there's a need for anything, our community steps up and helps whoever is in need.
Excellent. What else? What else do you do well?
Our staff is fantastic. They work very hard for the kids.
I believe just the whole district as a whole is we are a financially responsible district
Great.
by far. You know, we have done more with less over the years.
That's awesome. What else?
We have an abundance of extracurricular activities, including plays and band nights, different soccer, football, basketball, track.
Excellent. What else makes you proud?
Okay. Go ahead, Brian.
Our administration is phenomenal. I can't say enough good things about our administration and how hard they've been working to turn the district around. The improvement that we've made in the last 3 to 5 years, if we keep going in that direction, the sky's the limit.
Excellent.
We finally have some consistency.
Yeah. Yep. Any other strengths? Strengths inside of academic achievement in terms of the culture that you all have helped create? Heard a little bit about finance there. Anything to brag about facilities wise?
Well, we have great buildings. They need a little work, but I mean, I think our schools are fantastic. Great stadium, gyms, the auditorium's really nice.
Okay.
The infrastructure around the school has improved as well.
What do you mean by that, Brian?
The roads, the
Okay.
streets, the
Yep.
sidewalks. We've
Got
been working with the city and the safe routes to schools
Yep.
to improve the sidewalks.
That's great. Is it safe to say there's a strong city school collaboration?
Yes,
More now than it ever was.
That's great. But
yes.
trust me
Within
when
the
I
last-
say that's not always the case.
In the last year to year and a half, it has been. Before that, I've been on for, this is my 24th year on the board, and I can guarantee you that 20 years ago, there was nil.
Understood. Anything else in terms of strengths? That's a pretty solid list. Great.
I think
community-
we have dedicated ESCs too. We deal with both Mahoning County and Columbiana County, and I think they're both good.
Excellent. Great community, supportive community, strong, hardworking staff members, fiscally responsible, always trying to do more with less. Extracurricular offerings, including arts and athletics. You got a strong admin team. You've seen great improvement over the last 3 to 5 years. You've finally established some consistency. You have strong facilities with great partnership with the leadership of the city. And you have dedicated ESC support partnerships. Did we miss any of your major strengths?
Our students are our big strength too.
Right.
We have a good graduation percentage and
Excellent. All right, we're going to move on. You know what's coming next. This is the most difficult portion of the evening, but it usually is the most thorough. So I'm really going to challenge you here to dig deep. We're going to talk about challenges. We're going to talk about weaknesses. Every organization has them. My team has them back at our offices in Hudson at the Impact Group. I know for a fact, having listened to some of the members of the leadership team, there's some challenging things right now that face all schools in general. We can talk about those things. We can talk about things that are proprietary to the district. But at this point in time, I'm gonna shift the conversation to talking about some of the challenges or the weaknesses that you face. These are the things that sometimes keep you up at night. You turn to your spouse or your family. You say, man, if we could just do X, it would make things a whole lot better. If we just had the resources for Y, it would be a whole lot better. What are those things that you're constantly talking about that are challenges?
well, I think one of the biggest things is even though we have the new levy, our tax base is still pretty low.
Yep.
I think we have it's pretty weak internet service around this area.
Okay.
Our location is difficult.
Sure is. And is that in terms of attracting staff members? Is that in terms of it's not a growing community?
It's not a growing community, and we lack like the major transportation routes to help us grow.
Yep.
We're shrinking. And the only way that I can see us turning that around is through the positive image that our schools have,
Sure.
because there are plenty of jobs around us within driving distance. We just need to do something to attract people to us.
Yep.
That's why we need to become a destination.
All right. What are some other challenges that you think about often?
We've had a very negative image for years, which is starting to turn around, but we need to keep putting our best foot forward and improve that image.
Brian, what's the rationale behind the negative image? Is that mismanagement through the years? Is that, unpopular leadership?
God, I don't know. I just know that I can't put a finger on exactly what was the negativity towards East. I mean, not just it was this East Palestine in general.
Yeah.
I think it was a citywide image problem that
Yep.
the new administrations between the school and the city and the community, the new administrations have really started to fix that through a number of proactive initiatives that we've taken.
Mhm.
But like the city has been far more proactive in eradicating the drug problem that has plagued us in the past. And the transparency in the schools and I guess a lot of the working together,
Sure.
the school, the city, and it helps improve that image.
Got it.
And seems that we've become a transient community over the last decade or so. And
Yep.
sometimes people don't invest. They're not investing in the community as much as everybody would like them to. We would like them to.
Understood.
And social media can be a good thing, can be a bad thing.
Sure can.
We can be, we're perceived as this or that. And, there's not I don't know what you can do about it. I guess that's what we're here tonight.
Yep.
To find out. I have a saying, once people don't confuse them with the facts, they got their mind made up. So
Understood.
hard to change people's minds when they've already
It's a good way to put it. Yeah. Other challenges.
Our dwindling population has been a tough to work with.
Yep. Anything else, even issues the boards had to deal with in terms of, resource allocation? Are there things that kind of catch you all off guard? Have you had to make difficult decisions surrounding particular areas that have become challenges? Whether that's achievement or whether that's onboarding staff members, the way that
There's always a shortage of substitutes.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of our problems all come back to the open enrollment. I mean, the open enrollment problem it doesn't help our numbers for our athletics. It kills us financially. That is the problem. I mean, that's the key problem that I see us needing to fix.
Yes.
We need to, if we can't bring our open enrollment kids back, we need to make sure that the ones we have, the students we have, stay, and that they don't leave before they hit the door.
Yep.
I mean, we all would like to have, if the state would fix the financing,
Sure.
finance schools, that's the biggest thing. Even years ago, it was deemed illegal, but they've yet to change.
Yep.
Change the funding yet.
Yep. That's going to come up again in threats. Those things that you can't necessarily help. You might have a plan for them, but
Yeah.
Unfunded mandates, it's a wreck
And
for
the
schools.
consistent, like,
Yeah.
we've talked with Chris multiple times about, their plans come up and in 2 years they change their funding plan, and then 2 years they change it, and then in 2 more years they change it. And, you can't get consistent.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to plan like that.
We go by their rules and then they change the rules in midstream. And
Absolutely. Other challenges, things that are on your mind that you wish you could create some strategy around and find a solution. Okay, let me read some of these back to you. A small community tax base, even with the passage of your most recent income tax levy. Weak Wi-Fi in the city. Your location, it's not a growing community. Population is shrinking. It's difficult to attract quality teachers. You've been dealing with a negative image. It's rather historical in nature. dealing with citywide issues, whether it's a drug problem or poverty or a lack of resources, community transients, social media, trying to keep up with the rumor mill, dwindling population, substitute shortage, the financial impact of open enrollment and student loss, and then the state financial picture and the lack of consistency. Have we missed any of your major challenges or weaknesses? All
I don't
right.
think so.
Okay. Those are the two lengthiest portions, and I want to make sure, though, I do justice to the ending components here. I want you to think about, we're not going to end with threats. We'll end with opportunities. That's a little more positive. So when you think about threats, these are external realities that tend to push in and pervade on the organization, and you can't necessarily help them. All you can do is brace for the impact. The low hanging fruit there is the state and federal assistance. It's inconsistent. Someone else is deciding it. Certainly you can advocate as board members, and we hope that our legislators believe in public education and help us on that front. But it's a reality of the game that we take what they give. Are there any other threats? Are there any other things from the outside forcing in that keep you awake at night other than state funding?
Well, our city doesn't have a building inspector, so we have an abundance of what I call slumlords.
Yeah.
So the county pays a lot of the rents for the low income people. So because of our city having so much low income rental properties, it attracts poorer people from out of town.
Yep. Any other threats? Again, outside looking in, things that you wish you had an answer for that sometimes rear their head.
The economy in general, we live in one of the poorest counties in the state.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris,
Anything else that's on your mind?
yeah, Chris, to go along with that, and I've been quiet purposely because I don't want to tarnish the results because I sat in the other meeting. So I don't bring any of our ideas. I want to hear yours. But,
Sure.
To go along with what these guys are saying, that idea of that generational poverty that we talked about the other day, and it goes along with what Doug and Brian just said. But I think it's important that that's a specific piece because generational poverty brings very specific characteristics to the table that we've got to be aware of.
Yep. We talked a lot about, just for the board's knowledge, we talked a lot about that generational poverty and families, unfortunately, having low educational expectations for their kids. And they don't expect a lot and they kind of just go with the flow. And now it's up to the district to work extremely hard, harder than they've ever worked, to try to bridge that gap and make education important and offer the resources that unfortunately lots of kids aren't getting at home. Even the basic necessities like food and shelter and being able to feel okay about themselves has now become a school issue. And you guys have done a great job fortifying yourselves and making sure kids have the resources that they deserve in terms of their mental health and their social emotional wellness, along obviously with academic achievement. I heard a lot of great things that are already happening. We're gonna continue to reinforce and build upon those platforms and resources. Any other threats we should know about?
Then the one thing was really concerning to me is when we had the income tax last year, and there was quite a few staff members that did not go out and vote.
Yep.
That are registered, but they did not vote, and that was concerning.
Understood. Okay. We're going to finish on a positive note. What are the opportunities out there that you might not currently be taking advantage of? What are some things that you've said as board members? We have resources here, and here. Let's take advantage of them. Let's put some systems or assign some personnel to be responsible So are there any opportunities that you're currently thinking about that you wish would be explored inside of a strategic plan, inside of the document that will hopefully will help guide district decision-making over the course of the next 3 to 5 years?
We have several new businesses that are moving into town. I know that the one is going to bring 35 jobs to start. And I think we need to talk with them and see what they need.
Yeah.
What can we do to our students to ready them to walk into those jobs that they're providing or that they will be providing?
Yep. That's great. Any other opportunities?
Can we prepare our students to work or be employable at the cracker plant just across the border in Pennsylvania?
Yep.
What skills can we provide? What do we need? What do they need?
These are great. School business collaboration, employability skills, mentoring opportunities. Any other opportunities that you wish we could study? All right. Well, this is a solid 2.5 pages of notes. I appreciate your thoughts and sentiments. We're going on about 45 minutes here. If I could spend just maybe the last 5 minutes in a wrap up, and Chris, I'll turn it back over to you. Our process from here, now that I've spoken with members of the board, I've spoken with members of the leadership team, we're going to move into the larger community engagement phase of our project. So you'll be hearing from Chris. You'll see district communication that's going to place the community survey and the staff survey in front of as many folks as humanly possible. We will need you as board members to help us with that initiative. You're connected to multiple networks, and I'm sure the simple click of a button can send a couple of emails. If you can pass those survey links on to as many community members as possible, whether that's folks in your churches, members of service groups in town like Chamber of Commerce or Rotary, if you have contacts with those larger built-in groups of people, Chris will be sending it via the district email system to moms and dads. We're going to try to link as many people to our surveys and to our Zoom focus groups as humanly possible. So if you know of a community member that would appreciate the opportunity to kind of sit in a one-on-one atmosphere with me like this in a Zoom focus group, we can do that. If they would rather provide their feedback in the comfort of their home in a quick 10-minute survey, we can do that as well. The surveys are very comprehensive. They ask questions across all 7 of those categories that we so often spoke about tonight, things like achievement, communication, finance, facilities. We're really trying to get a comprehensive view of what the community wants from their school district. I will be making targeted phone calls personally to some key community influencers, the folks in town that have a lot of sway with larger groups. I'll be contacting them personally for personal conversations. Again, asking a lot of questions that I asked you all tonight. What does the district do well? What's the direction you would like to see them head? What are the resources they can utilize to get there? When all of that data comes back to us, our team at the Impact Group will put it into a nice executive summary for all of you to read. And we will begin working on taking those ideas and those high frequency, high yield items, the items that come up over and over again in conversations with your community members, teachers, with the board, with the admin team. We'll place those into the plan as goals, objectives, and action steps, all of which tied to a staff member that is a member of Chris's leadership team, all of which have a due date so that the board can follow up. And we will be ascribing a process to Chris of how the board can quarterly kind of provide community updates via a simple red, yellow, green via the district website. Will help Chris kind of build the plan into the web. And it'll be easy for a community member to follow and track the progress that we're making over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. So again, hold all of us accountable. They're going to provide us with the feedback. We're going to make sure they know that we're coming through on our end, that we're saying we're going to do what we say we're going to do. That's the process in a nutshell. It's going to take about 3 to 4 months to complete, with the goal of Chris being able to open the 21-22 school year with a fresh plan, with a fresh outlook, fresh goals and objectives that are truly, when all is said and done, it's the community's plan. It's informed by the community, or at least as many people that want to take part in this process. We've seen it work wonders in many, many districts. Chris talked to, I think, some superintendents that we've worked with all over the state. It's a process that we very much believe in, but it's going to need the board's blessing and the board's backing to make it actionable. We've all been part of plans that there's a little bit of excitement when they're done, and for some reason the binder gets put up on the shelf and kind of exists there for all of eternity. We're going to provide a whole bunch of strategies to keep this thing moving, keep it in front, so that the board can celebrate all the small wins that it's going to experience along the way. So all that said, unless there's any extra questions for me, Chris, I'll go ahead and turn it back to you. I appreciate everyone's commitment tonight. Appreciate your 50 minutes of dialogue. This is great start for us in terms of gathering data.
All right, Chris, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Just so you guys are aware, I mean, we did the same process with our admin team a couple days ago. And just what a phenomenal process up to this point, to really dig in, and I'm anxious to get the community involved in the things that we're doing. And, you know, a lot of the things that we've been talking about, you know, we kind of put the brakes on when COVID hit. So I'm excited to get this ball rolling again, and really kind of get the community in here over the next couple months, and excited about the end process and how we're going to start the school year next year. So, you know, with that said, you know, Chris and I will continue to work on the things we need to behind the scenes. And unless anybody's got anything, Jen, all we need to do is shut it down. So.
Anyone got
Chris,
anything?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Rob.
not you, Mr. Knife, or the other Chris.
Yes, sir.
Phone number, we can reach you.
Sure. I'll give you my personal cell is area code 330-284-5764.
Okay. Because there's a lot of times, you know, laying in bed at 2 a.m. is when I do my best thinking. So
I
won't call you.
understand.
I won't call you at 2 a.m.
No, I understand. And Chris has my email as well. If you'd like to call, certainly take a phone call. If you'd like to email me your thoughts, Chris,
Okay.
if you wouldn't mind passing the board my email, that's perfectly fine.
Yep. Gotcha.
Is that at 100% it will happen. There's going to be things come up, or community member, you know, addresses you as a board member and says, you know, I'm really thinking about this, and it jogs your brain. This is certainly the data gathering phase is the bulk of the next 2 months. So anything that you have to add from here on out, we'd be happy to take it.
Anyone else? All right, then I guess I'll see you guys next Monday, 6 o'clock. Are we gonna meet in the library?
Absolutely.
It's up to you guys. I'm good. I'm good either way.
All right, then we'll see you in the library next Monday, 6 o'clock.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, see you guys Monday.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
All right. Have a great evening, guys.
You too.